very disappointing.
Hello, everybody. Everybody back? So, you know, the whole Zoom thing is both, of course, a real blessing. Obviously, that just almost nobody done it without it in this age of COVID. And saved our Okoli, we say in Hawaii, which is a nice way of saying saved our derriere. But so I find myself also wanting to go to the Zoom and to say hello and thank you guys for coming. And in some ways, it's harder to feel what I'm trying to do, I think, over the computer. So I'm asking you to muster up and do your best. And please jump in with your feedback and your questions. So I had to I'm going to bring in another talent now to cover these next two pieces of meditation. I'm going to go into the, okay, what do we got? We got limbo, right?
Wow.
We got appreciation child, which drifts into the world. And it's a little awkward, but now I've got now I've got my middle finger, which is come, sit, stay, and it's kind of it's the stabilizing of the background music. David, my friend, David Blood's out there. It's the dancer, it's the plies, it's the music for the musicians. This is the scales. You've got to have some sort of baseline training that starts to uncover things. This goes into, there's two things you're doing. One is getting blasted with your own beingness. And beingness, beingness is considered built from wisdom and compassion. So you're actually getting flushed with perfection or awake. And then on the other hand, there's a deconstruction of your world that's going on. A natural deconstruction of your starting to, if you get smell the myth that happiness comes from getting what I want. Some Rinpoche said this, again, a beautiful thing. I love this one. Pain is not punishment, pleasure is not reward. Over and over again. Pain is not punishment, pleasure is not reward. Of course, it isn't how we get the biggest piece of cheese, we're happy, the biggest chocolate cake, and all of a sudden you're reversing this tendency to actually see life in a much, much bigger way. And some of it is the ability to start to deconstruct a myth, the myth of what separates us from beingness. Nice to say power now. As I said, we probably wouldn't recognize now if it hit us in the face. So I'm going to hand over to a couple of talented ladies, and here we go. Set up. It goes in the ears so close.
So,
Yeah.
can everyone hear me well? Zoom, if you guys can hear me, thumbs up. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Task today is teaching us calm abiding meditation and the tradition of Chogyam Trungpa and Shambhala. Some important things to keep in mind: posture, more than anything. We're going to practice the kind of regal posture that Dean was referring to. And if you picture in your mind like the ideal Buddha statue, that's what we're going to try and embody today. So, your legs can be crossed in front of you. You could try and have your knees a little bit lower than your hips if you're on a cushion, or if you're in the equally meditative posture in a chair. Just have your legs in kind of right angles, feet flat on the ground. We're going to try and tilt our pelvis forward a little bit and help align our posture. And then keep our spine straight, erect. Have our head kind of pull up a little bit, tuck our chin in a little bit, so that you can have an energy flowing up and down through your body. Have a sense of your lower body being very grounded, your upper body being very light. You're connecting heaven and earth with your body and the energy flow. And also have a sense of a strong back and a gentle open front. And also practicing the concepts of being able to shape your mind like Plato. You can move your mind. You have that power. So you can place your mind on your breath. And just focus on breathing out. You don't need to put any special emphasis when you breathe in, but focus on letting the breath go out. I'll just do that for a few minutes. Now that we're grounded in our regal posture, we've got the good energy flowing. Shambhala meditation is generally done with your eyes open, kind of gazing down along your nose line, down, kind of 3 to 6 feet in front of you, so that you can take in with your open heart everything that's going on in the world around you. If your mind has started to kind of wander off from your breath and you just caught yourself, being distracted, thinking about what you're going to have for lunch later. That's perfectly good and wonderful because you just experienced that. You just experienced awareness and being awake. And you have unlimited opportunities to start fresh and bring your breath, your focus back on the breath. As you're breathing, sometimes it's helpful to just check in and make sure your posture is still correct. Pelvis is tilted forward, strong back, looking hard, head up quickly, lower body grounded, body light, heart open. a reminder of practicing on the body meditation, practicing placing our mind on our outgoing breath. Let it go. For the benefit of those of you sitting on a cushion, if your legs are starting to fall asleep, which is very common and very good light, you can change your position to something equally good can be. Feel free to prop up whenever like it's falling asleep and try and still going back to that upright posture until you're comfortable enough to sit cross over. So you let the practice go. Take a deep breath. Close out the meditation session. Thank you very much, everyone on Zoom. Thank you.
No quick question.
And now, do you have a quick question?
Oh, no, you.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. That was not scripted.
You did a big gong too. You know, it's much more satisfying.
Yes. Oh, sorry. I forgot. All right. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, Mike.
Used to meditate with my eyes closed. It's quite different feeling with eyes open. Can you comment on
Yeah, so Mike, for the benefit of folks on Zoom, he mentioned that he's used to meditating with his eyes closed, but this practice is with the eyes open. And I think as we've encountered in mindful Hawaii sessions in the past, we're doing this like meditation first with eyes open and later, first with eyes closed and then later with eyes open. It's quite more challenging to meditate with your eyes open. You have a lot of sensory input in that. And the point of it, the exercise in a sense, is to essentially work with that sensory input, right? Because what you're doing on the cushion is training for what you're doing right, which is work with all your sensory input, work with the guy to cut you off as you're getting on the highway, work with your boss, from that, work with your spouse, work with your cranky child that's hungry, take it all in and work with it and have this complete openness and willingness to take every moment as it is and be present.
that? There's a sense of, you kind of walk around with your eyes open generally during the day. So once again, we're starting to do this. Just elaborating, we're starting to have the best meditation program is the one that gets integrated into your life. And the problem with eyes closed is it has a tendency to go, now I'm meditating. Now I'm off. So you're starting to allow yourself to actually be awake at all times. So you're starting to go from meditation to another word called awake.
And another thing to note when you're doing meditation practice in the future that I forgot to mention because I was in the moment, is that when you do have that moment of catching yourself, like, oh, I was thinking about my laundry that I have to do later, instead of meditating and focusing on your breath, you label that moment thinking. That's a very key part of training your mind, is to label that moment of distraction thinking and returning to present, because it's something that you can also do in the line in the supermarket, right? If you're off in space and closer, if you're off in space and you realize like, oh, I'm here, you can, that distraction, you can also acknowledge it as thinking. When a particularly strong emotion arises, you can also acknowledge that strong emotion as thinking and return to the breath and return to your kindness. So it's all a practice of training mind. Yes, Stephen?
You said to focus on the out breath. I found that tricky. It's like, oh, but in order for there to be an out breath, it's got to be an in breath. So I kept playing with that. And then you have the other thing about being meditated, something that I'm not even sure if I've heard right. Eyes open, seeing 360. See 360.
So
Did I mishear that?
Stephen noted that he had a more challenging time meditating with his eyes open, correct? Yes. Oh, and focusing on the out breath. That's what it was.
Right.
Focusing on the out breath, and he found that a little trickier. And then also about having 360 awareness. Well, that's something that you're developing. Just the same way with the Play-Doh, you can shape your mind. You can expand your awareness. You can have that ability to push out your awareness from you and be aware of everything around you.
So not literally seeing, but just awareness.
So feeling, yeah. And Ira, you had a question? Oh, out breath. The out breath focus is practicing letting go. So just like you had an angry thought, you're practicing letting go of that angry thought and returning to space and openness and spaciousness. So that's you're constantly practicing letting go. You're constantly, in a sense, dying, letting that breath out. With every out breath, practicing letting go of life as we conceptualize it, and you're practicing trying to connect with that larger energy that unites all of us.
Yeah, I will get to that one. Okay. It's a great question. Shamatha, this particular technique, and we talk literally hundreds of different ways. For instance, the mindfulness and the morning shower is presence practice turbocharged with the visualization. And the reason that the out breath was emphasized, particularly by Trungpa Rinpoche, was so that is that it's a very grown-up practice. Because you can make all kinds of trouble. You're getting used to space, both with the out breath and nothing to do on the in breath. So right away, you're being, instead of like, the more you give your mind something to do, count 1, 2, 3, the more it brings the mind to a very concentrated place. What Trungpa Rinpoche was being taught in these teachings is you're getting to know space right away. You're getting to know space and letting go of space. So when Trungpa Rinpoche was asked that question about the in-breath, he says, well, what do you do with that? And he says, well, that's for humor and play.
It just happened. It just,
Okay.
he also said it just happens.
Yeah, it's going to happen anyway.
It
Till
just
you
happens.
die.
You don't put your energy or focus on it.
You can do it
Yeah,
with
so
those.
you
your
just
attention.
don't put your attention on the in breath because it just happens naturally. You focus on the out breath.
It's tricky because it always feels like that's like telling you don't think about elephants.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Stephen's noting that it's tricky. If he says, don't think about elephants, there's one, right?
All I can say is play them and focus on both. And then play, focus now. I mean, literally, it's like, here it is. Here's a tool for you. But if you give your mind something to do all the time, then your mind never really understands space.
So being a space of what you're suggesting would be playful and play with that space and give yourself that space.
Anyway,
Ira, did you have a question?
Yeah, but just on this, it's like another way I see it. Sort of the other side of when somebody's kind of there's a tendency to here. So it's just kind of relaxing, studying that, focusing on what happens naturally.
Ira made a great observation that when you're in a volcanic state, breath and energy tends to come up here, and the practice that we're doing is not being up here in this kind of state, but letting that breath out and flow and be more calm and relaxed. Yes.
In the non-gap moments, other labels aside from thinking, how many?
So Ira's question was in the non-gap moments, are there other labels that you can use? I'm going to hand that one off to Dean.
How many that kind of thing? These 4 others.
Yeah. Play, joy, laughter, smile. And you're good at all. But I wanted to comment on that one. The nice one. In some sense, we're always panic. We're always holding our breath. I think that's why shamatha calm abiding feels so good. But we're calm about panic. But it isn't just a panic attack. There's always a sense that we're holding ourselves against the wall. And all of a sudden you can go, wow. Yeah, so panic one, and then the play, smile, joy, space, and light. Things we might try. Is there another question for Eileen? Yes, sorry. Yes. Right, right. But Charlotte, did you want to come in?
Or what her
Charlotte
comment.
just commented that the word thinking is allowing us to depower thoughts, which is an amazing thing to do, because I think for a while you actually don't understand that you're not thoughts. And then I'm pointing out that the mindfulness, you're starting to mix, when you start to breach between mindfulness and awareness, you're starting to let go of the watcher and with the thinking part. Pretty soon thinking will be too big of a label to even apply to the breath or to the thought. You don't need to, it's too arduous. You're starting to go. The way that Arlene taught it, quite frankly, we didn't check in, and I love what she did. It's very grown up. It's a very grown up. You're not keeping track of 50% of what you're doing. You're allowed to goof up or play or kind of stumble over yourself. So you're integrating space right away with the kind of shamatha. But the kind of shamatha I used to teach at the beach, if you were there with me, was first the perfect 10. Does anybody remember the perfect 10? You counted every breath, 1, 2. So you really bring focus in, and that's traditionally how it's taught at the beginning, because we're so crazy. You need a lot to do when you're crazy. 1, 2, 3. And then as you become more spacious, you can start to meld your mind with space and love more. But at first, you just have to train and tame that mind. So in the perfect 10, you're counting both the in and the out, and then finally just the out, and finally just breath, space, and light. Irish question. As you integrate more space, less needing to have a babysitter. Our babysitter. Everybody understand we have a babysitter going on constantly. How you doing? Oh no, you're doing fine. I'm doing fine. That babysitter, your roommate, it's constantly judging you. You're starting to learn how to decompress that, let that guy go, let that one, whatever. You're starting to learn to make friends with that part of the mind. So now, in the terms of the fundamental 5, this mindfulness practice is like, I call it the scales. It's just simply like, if you want to be a virtuoso of being happy, you're going to have some discipline in the scales. She taught a classic way of disciplining and training and taming the mind. I am no way in trying to undermine that. What I'm trying to say is, let the fundamental 5 happen and then be seduced or interested in doing more of the mindfulness practice. Because I literally have taught now, it's a little embarrassing, just, I don't know if that's the right word. But everybody wants to have a meditation practice. The best exercise program, I said this over and over again in the clinic, the best exercise program is the one that gets done. The shoulda-dones, I don't care about anymore. I want to know what's going to get integrated in your life. So this is the form of mindfulness that I suggest that you start with. Remember the profundity of that moment of what just happened with Arlene, and know that there's that basic training. But this is how this is how I'm suggesting we do mindfulness practice. First, the limbo, because you're bringing your mind to something very joyous. Second, the morning shower. And third, I call it come sit stay. So I'm going to do come sit stay now, right? Now, come sit stay, you can be in David's posture, Joe's posture. And it's a mindfulness practice. And now the first two practices I taught, I took up, I say, 3 minutes of your time, 2 to do limbo, lineage, intention, motivation, and 2 to do the morning shower. So I've got 6 minutes. I only ask for 10 minutes. So I have 6 minutes. So the next 3 are integrated in the day. And what I really would love is if 6 times a day you interrupt yourself with one of these next 3 practices. So my son, I was watching my son train his rambunctious puppy named Nugget. And when you train a dog, you say, "Oh, here, Nugget, come on over here. Please come here." And Nugget says, "Oh, yeah. Now I could give Nugget right now. He would do this action. He come over, you go, "Oh, yeah, nice to see you. How are you doing?" You know, and then you say sit, and you put his butt down. "Oh, yeah. And you say stay, and he goes, boom," right? So it's come, sit, stay. It's the same thing of actually acknowledging, of interrupting your life and bringing your mind back to your body, which is sometimes known as synchronizing your mind and body, sitting for a second and stay. So don't change the posture, don't change anything, don't change your eyes, look out and actually say to yourself, "Come here, mind." Now sit with it in your body and stay for a second. Finish, done. Okay, we're gonna do it again. Eyes open, Steve, if you would, if that's okay. Look out. Dean's talking. Oh, this is going on. Come here, guys. Come here, my friend, my mind. Come here, friend. Let it sit in your body. Stay. That's short. Now, after you do that, you ask the anchoring question again and again. This is just a blast of shamatha, but with a lot more space. So what you say is, again, let's do it again together. It's almost like you're whistling to yourself. My friend, my mind, you and me, we haven't been hanging out together. Would you mind coming over here for a second? Come here, mind, come here. Come. Mind goes to the body. No, it's not, Jill, don't listen, do it. Come here, mind. Stay, look out. Wow. Then you say, whoa, did I like interrupting my life with come sit stay? Did I enjoy that break? You give yourself, oh my gosh, that was fun. I was out in the universe plowing through stuff that was so crazy. Come here, mind, come. Sit with me a second. Stay. Is that fun? Is that pleasant? Does your mind like that? You're rewiring your brain from getting joy of doing to joy of being. You're literally starting to do this. Train your mind that beingness is inherently joyful, inherently happy. One last time. Come here, mind. Sit in my body. Be friends with me for a second. Stay. Wow, I like that. I'm gonna do that some more. So there's a whole technique. Any questions on that? I'm not saying it's gonna ever replace shamatha. I just don't know how many hours of shamatha we as a culture will do, but I'm pretty darn sure we can do come sit stay and it will start affecting our minds. I just taught mindfulness for so many years, and I'll walk into a room with 40 people and 2 of them will raise their hand that they haven't practiced. It has to be able to be integrated, and you have to tell your brain that you prefer presence and beingness. So any questions about that? Come sit, stay.
What is shamatha?
It's a word meaning dwelling in peace. Like, let's do this together. Come, come. Mind comes into the body. Oh, feels so good. Stay. There's peace, right? Can you feel that? Let's do it together. Come here, bring your mind to your body.
I don't know what that feels like.
You know, it's so brilliant. I mean, it is true. In all honesty, we don't always know what that feels like. We've lived in our heads for so long to actually just bring our body right here, your mind right here, but you can do it. Bring your mind right here. And a breath changes, and you'll feel a breath change too. And you've started to nudge beingness in your own mind. But you have to be willing to let this go and feel body. I know you know it because of your acting. You bring your mind and body to one place, right? So it could be any discipline. Does that help at all?
In the very beginning, you said to practice beginner's mind.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm still stuck there. That's pretty much my answer to everything right now. It's like, I don't know. I don't mean this in any kind of facetious way.
No,
at
no,
all.
no, no. And I don't. Yeah, the question is, I don't know. Steve is saying he doesn't know if he can feel when his mind and body are synchronized. He doesn't know that he can feel that. And I'm going to say, I don't think that's. I'm intrigued. You and I, let's breathe together. Just breath. Okay, what did you just feel?
I was looking to see your in-breath so that I could synchronize with your in-breath,
Mm-hmm.
and it felt good. And
Mm-hmm.
I was able to do that. That's what I think.
Okay, now I'm asking you not to do any of that, but to feel. Every time you breathe, your lungs massage your heart. Literally, they encapsulate your heart. So I want you to put your hand on your heart. And I want you to feel yourself giving yourself love. Okay? And what happens, Steve?
Some calmness.
Did you feel that calmness? Or did you think that calmness?
I felt it.
That's it. So, mhm. Go ahead. Jill was talking about what happens to the sensory apparatus once you quiet your mind, and all of a sudden the world becomes alive in a vastly different way. Literally, we have dust in our eyes by thinking mind. So Trungpa Rinpoche talked about what you're speaking about. He said the problem with Westerners is that they don't have a body at all. They have a psychosomatic body. They only have a body that they think about. They actually don't know how to feel it. But that's the first thing, is feeling your mind, feeling that calm. And what happens with that calmness is that filter. You started to let a filter go of what Jill wanted in the world. Some sort of anxiousness of constantly grasping something to happen in the next second. You let that filter go, and all of a sudden beauty, filter down, beauty up. That was beautifully spoken, so thank you. So again, I know that you know love.
Yeah, I know what that feels like.
Okay, that's all you're doing with beingness. When Dalai Lama said, the whole purpose of life is to find happiness, I want you to contemplate that. That's one of your take-homes, the Plato and the contemplation of why would somebody as wise as the Dalai Lama and Aristotle and Joseph Campbell say the whole purpose of life is to be happy. Because love is a really fun gig. And I know you know that. And then I know that you are going to have a brilliant mind and you doubt yourself. And that's going to be the last thing we'll talk about. So I'm going to come back to that, because it's doubt. It's doubt that you could be this perfect. It's a shocking thought. That's why they're called the perfection teachings. They're so insulting to doubt. And please keep coming. I mean, you know, I asked you personally to be here, so thank you for the questions and thank you for that. So once come, it's got to be fast. Middle of the day, you're in Safeway. Come here, body. Sit, stay, look out. You like your mind body when it's more awake, when you're synchronized. Mind says, please, 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 let's do more of that. And that's come, sit, stay. So that's number 3. And now I'm going to turn it, okay. So now I'm going to turn it over to Janine, and we're going to do an exercise that's apropos for just what Stephen brought up.
Space in the middle. Susha, one way or the other. To your left a little bit.
So Jay, you're going to take the mic. Are you going to sit right there?
No, that's not me. It's in
Oh, it's on the flowers. Okay.
So let's all just take a nice deep breath. Take another breath. So open your eyes and just look at these beautiful flowers in the earth has produced. Just admire the flowers. You might want to silently talk to them. No one's going to know. Just silently tell them how pretty they are and how much you appreciate them. How much you appreciate flowers being in your life to celebrate so many occasions. You might tell them how they uplift your life whenever they're present, and how they even improve your life. Just absorb the magnificent beauty. You're such a gift to our world. Now I want you to instantly switch your consciousness. So now you are the flower looking back at you. You are the flower now, appreciating you. The flower is looking back at you. The flower is now appreciating your beauty, your innate goodness, your joy, how you uplift the world, your aliveness. Just melt and let the flower love you like you are loving it. There's an interconnectedness here that might feel a little bit too much for you or strange, because normally we think when we perceive the phenomenal world and even nature, we feel like it's a one-way street, and it's not. There's an interconnectedness going on all the time. We just have to take ourselves out of the picture so we can hear more, hear the bird, see more, feel more. So let the natural world love you like you love it, and how it changes your world. So we're going to do a mindful wandering, aimless wandering now in silence. This aimless wandering, we're going to feel this interconnectedness. There's more flowers in the back, the bougainvillea. Just let the world in to your heart. As you do this aimless wandering, we ask you to do it in silence, please. We're asking you to get just a little bit more out of today by not always going back to talking, thinking mind. So this is just a little 10-minute aimless wandering.
Thanks. Okay. The three agreements we made together because we all said that we wanted this, we hoped to benefit the world in our life. We hope to be even more profound and better friends with ourselves throughout life, to actually learn how to self-love. And most importantly, we acknowledge that we're kind of crazy, that we've got some taming and training to do. And I asked for naivety, that childlike naivety, which is really hard for adults to do because we've been thinking our way through life for our whole lives. We've been told that's the way to do it. And all of a sudden, these teachings come along, the perfection teachings, the happiness teachings, and say, actually, to really get happy, you're going to have to open up, you're going to have to educate your heart. That's the turbocharger of this whole thing. Shamatha Vipassana, you can still kind of control it and keep it in a certain distance, although with come, sit, stay, it starts to penetrate. I'm going to review. You wake up, you do something, you do the morning shower, golden, oh, love life. Some sense of appreciation, which you flesh out. I'm sending you a tape on how to do that because you don't really think about lineage, although, I bet you almost all of us have mom and dad somewhere in our house, right? Or the picture of mom and dad. So it's not that far away. But when we think of lineage, we think of something, I don't know, formal or something. I'm saying, no, you make these guys your best friend, these ladies. So lineage, limbo, come, sit, stay, come, let's do it, come. Come here, body. It is almost like, see, your body loves being with your mind. Your mind loves being with your body. They're like two good friends, but mostly it's, oh, that was beautiful play. What did he say? Harold lived pretty close to his body. We're out here chatting with ourselves. He lived pretty close. Even doing yoga or surfing, people, yeah. They live pretty close to the body. So come. Oh. Stay. Wow, do I like it when I'm synchronized? Mind says, yeah, and you've just taken a tilt, you just take a happiness hit. And your brain says, I'll help you get back there again, because your mind is a happiness seeking apparatus. Literally, you are set up to want beingness, to want to know what happiness is. That's why the perfection teachings work. So now we're going to go a little deeper into being childlike. I think rational and thinking mind has taken us about as close to extinction as we dare to go. I think it's marvelous that we can send rockets up and go to the moon and dream of Mars. Thinking mind and the brilliance of the human mind is extraordinary. And it's also time that we start to learn how to feel our worlds, to educate and open our hearts. So these next teachings, number 4, which goes on your ring finger, is learning how to drop from your head literally to your heart. And it's an exercise. In all honesty, it is the turbocharger of the whole thing. So that being said, I want you to look out, just simply enjoy your life, enjoy it. Very simple, da-da-da. And then I want you to take your consciousness. You'll notice, in all honesty, that your consciousness is somewhat head-bound. I almost want you to literally drop down into your heart. I just thought of my friend Susha, when she did that, a breath happened in her body. So again, you're up here in your head. Sometimes it's fun to emphasize it. Oh, I'm thinking of it, and then drop down to your heart. It literally helps particularly in the beginning, since this is not a skill set that's taught very much in our culture, to touch your heart. You put a loving hand on a loving heart, and this is the daringness. Allow yourself to experience that. Jill's bird just sang. The fan, the wind, the beauty of nature just penetrated you or asked you to join it, to make love with it. Look out at your world. You know you're doing this right if there's a sense of profound tenderness. It literally is somewhat almost embarrassing. And that's why you create these spaces of retreat, these safe spaces. Because you wouldn't dare normally to be this vulnerable. You wouldn't dare to do this. It's, oh my gosh, can I be this exposed to my world? I'll get hurt. Can I be safe? So look at the beauty that's in front of your eyes right now, whether that's a person or a tree, and you somewhat get penetrated. If you let that beauty in like you just did with the flowers, to the point that you can almost feel your eyes tearing up. Like you want to say to the world, it's so good to be in love with you, but it scares me to do this. It brings up a sense of belonging that's almost too much to bear. So only do it for a second and then come back. And then again, of course, now you had some experience. I hope you say to yourself, again, there's a literalness. Do I like my life more when it's heartfelt? Do I like being that tender and awake and accessible and a feeling of belonging to the earth, to the planet, to awake, to beingness? Do I like it? Do it make me happy? And your brain says, oh, please, friend, please do more of this. Please educate me more. Please open me more. And then you let everything go and you go about your day. Once more, look out. You see, just the miracle of green, the miracle of a mountain, the miracle of being able to see. You see, you drop your consciousness to your heart. It's like you take your eyes from your head and you put them on your heart. And you look out and you go, oh no, will you always hear that beautiful? And the world comes back to you like flowers and says, yep, sure is good to be with you again. And then you say, do I like being like that? And your mind, brain, your mind, heart says, wow, I like that. I'd like to do that more. And you wire it in the intention to have that happen. So now I'd like some feedback about, because that's a big leap. It's a big leap. Any questions on that?
Can I share a comment from Zoom Room, Dean?
Yeah, Zoom room.
I just wanted to share a comment that seemed to me to be the opposite side of asking the mind to come to the body. that we're asking our presence to come to the world in the same way that the prior exercises of come, sit, stay, ask the mind to come to the body.
Yes, yes, well put and well seen. Yes, I can. She said, you know, the come, sit, stay is bringing your mind presence to your body. Can't do much until you have a body. I'm sorry, but I mean, I don't know why that was funny. Mostly we don't have a body, you guys. Mostly we have a thought. So first you've got to synchronize mind and body, and that brings a certain kind of joy. And then you let yourself take that joy and actually be penetrated, you could say. Actually, sometimes I think it's insulting. I find it insulting because this beauty is always available to us, and yet we walk by at 23:57. I mean, it's just like, really? This level of beauty, especially in Hawaii, and we choose to walk by it and play games up here? It always insults me a little bit. Hawaii insults me. You know how Hawaii is? So beautiful. They're saying, yeah, you can just turn into aloha, right? Yeah, you can just love this. It's a waterfall, it's a tree, it's a fruit, it's a friend, it's a wave. And Hawaii say, hey, stupid, I'm here. Come on, let's let go into aloha. You know, Hawaii's like that. Nature's like that. So I use nature for this particular one. But the question was, yes, you're starting to allow yourself to first be here and now to actually interact with that. So I want you to experiment with this because I think it can be quite, it needs to be felt. And let's face it, feeling is not a cool thing in our culture. It isn't, otherwise women would be in charge. It's just not considered cool. We gotta think this thing through. And I'm saying, no, not if you want to really help the planet. I mean, just think of how few people know how to speak to the earth anymore. We literally don't know how to talk to the earth anymore. It's like so crazy. We don't know how to talk to trees. I just find that so crazy. Anyway, turn around to somebody, real simple, and I want you to do this experiment. I want you, and this is pretty quick. I want it done within like 6-7 minutes. I want you to look at the other person and say, she or he is going to say, how did you get here today? And you're going to go, I drove in a car, da 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 da, and then how the traffic, you know, just how did you get here today? And the other person hears you. And then I want you to say to that person, why did you come? And I want you to go from here to here. I want you to hear your own voice. Oh man, you should have seen all the stuff I had to do today. So it was just terrible, da, da, da. And the reason I came was, I hope it helps the planet. So experience what it is to drop in your heart and listen to your voice. And when your voice starts to sound like you know everything, you start to get a little nauseous and go, oh, that's you, a lovely person. Oh, this is a beautiful work. I know it sounds childlike, but I told you it was going to be childlike. I told you I needed you during this. So turn to somebody and say, how'd you get here today?
I took my milk.
How'd you get here today, Dean?
You can't believe my community.
Well,
It was harrowing, I'm sure.
Oh my God.
uh,
I had dogs
I told
that were trying to get me, was snarling, unfriendly dogs, listening on me. And then
this one.
I had to make tea first, you know? So it was just, it was really hard. And now you're at,
Something about, well, you know,
you can do it because of you.
you let that go. Just kind of like, let's appreciate what you came. He was very flattering.
Command.
To this. friendly face out there.
How'd you get here today?
So it's a great combination of
Well,
flattery and
first
guilt.
off, start off late, getting out of the house.
And
I'm
then,
so tired. And then
and
I
then
roll
the
down into White
cynical side of
picked up
me,
the drum,
believe
jetted
that I
over.
can learn
I
something.
made it here just in
Keep
time.
that
Right?
before.
It's nice.
It is nice.
Oh, you know, my
Why'd you come?
counseling practice, I have clients this morning.
I came because I
So, yeah, it
missed
wasn't really super hard.
Sandra.
Yeah.
Didn't feel it yet.
And I was
Drop
like,
down now.
well, I was actually excited about, couldn't sleep.
Because you're excited about it.
Well, I mean, I went to sleep
Why'd
about
you
11
come?
and then I woke up 2 or 3 o'clock. Did some stretching. So back to sleep.
You're
It's
thinking
gonna
about it.
sound weird.
Yeah.
But I'm missing being in love.
How are you feeling? How do you feel?
Thank you.
It's funny. First section. I felt
Did you feel yourself?
Yeah,
maybe plus
today is the
maybe
first
plus
time the
it's also looking at
letting in
Right.
exercise really was there.
so easy.
I just, you know, I struggle with that. Letting
I
in.
remember the downtown of the lower chakra was easier to touch. But your journey is going to be what you just gave me,
I didn't have that note.
the gift you just gave yourself. Because you want to be
Yeah.
involved, right?
Yeah. And like you were saying, I feel most alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of
Why
that.
not?
And
be in
then.
love all the time. Yes, you can.
Yeah, right. So that's what we're yeah. So we got the fundamental. You gotta have some taming the mind, opening the heart. Sacred sugar is
I got in touch with a lot of people.
see how this goes.
I think we should put a little like brief write up of that,
Last
of
night,
those things.
Look what I did, huh?
This guy in this movie.
Everybody gets it.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
And then we should send something. I don't know if you have a PDF
Yeah, so
of that bit, let's send it out to
Yeah, I do. We can do that, and then I'd like to send
the
a
video.
You.
I'm really disappointed. I'd like if you'd ask to see if we got this.
I was gonna ask you something I noticed. I don't like the game, but.
No, this is just to prop up this. I would like to ask if anybody recorded this, because we it was truthfully one of my better
It is
talks.
recording.
No, but it didn't record the first hour. Uh, Hello, lamppost. What you doing? Come to watch the flowers growing.
You got no
I'm
rhymes
for me. Do do do, feeling groovy. Da, 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 groovy. Okay, so did people literally feel their voice change as they came to their heart? Was that doable for folks, or was that a little? Did we miss the mark, or do you want any feedback about that? Marina? Yeah, you're Marina. Thank you. Anybody else? Want to share? Corinne?
Yes, I think that the how we got here is sort of not important, but the why we got here. So it's like to get to the why.
Yeah. She, kind of sets you up because the how is kind of a, what was it, help me, Sally, left brain thing, did I did this, I turned the keys, da, 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 da. But the other one said why, you had to go, oh my God, I came here because, and my mate blew it out of the park and she said,
I miss being in love.
Say it online so people want to.
Arlene said that she missed being in love. That's why she came. And there was not a dry seat in the house. So we're coming to the pinky finger, the precious pinky finger. And I've called this sacred sugar. By the way, I've taken these 5 chapters from the book, along with the appendix that goes through the fundamental 5, and I've made one for each one of you. So you can take this with you with your own Zoom people. We'll put this on file, PDF. We'll put this so you can have it. You have to go out and buy your own Play-Doh. But I really do want you to just feel your Play-Doh and have it instill in your mind that kinesthetic sense of, oh my God, mind is plastic. If you want your plastic, you want your Play-Doh to be in love, it's doable. It's a doable deal. So this is the last one called Sacred Sugar. And this one, I do need you more erect in the posture of nobility. King or queen, commanding your world. This one is kind of a little bit of icing on the cake. And again, first 2, limbo and morning shower, you do in the morning. It's kind of formal. The rest you do through the day with interruptions. Come, sit, stay, and drop into your heart. Right now, drop to your heart. It's a skill set. Look out at your world. World says, like the flowers. Why? Where you been? It's grew. So now we're on the one sacred sugar, and this one's a little even more penetrating. I want you to, again, look out into nature. And I want you to literally allow yourself to dissolve into the space in front of your eyes. Like you just keep going and going and going and going and going. Until your body trembles. I want you to have absolutely no next. This moment is the totality of your life. Go out and out and out and out and out. No next. I'm just sharing my experience with you. We're going to do it again in another ways, but there is this sense of the parachute of jumping into space without yourself. You're jumping into this snorting of reality, this snorting of being, the sacred sugar. I drew it because we all like Sugar Rush. So I'm saying, give yourself, when sugar was first introduced, they say in London in the West, it was treated like snuff and you snorted it. Nervous system was so virgin, you go, "Wah!" Now it's, of course, maybe cocaine, not that I would know that. But I'm asking you to give yourself a "Wah!" moment. Give yourself this moment. It isn't that it isn't there. So again, you're looking at the world. This time I want you to relax. 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 Have no anxiety about next. Awake. And come back. Come back. Come back. All you get is a snort. You just keep taking these sacred sugar snorts, these blasts. Here, do it quickly. This is hard. Let go of any identity. Pretend you have no idea who you are now. Hold. And come back. Like tear again. Like, oh my God. Oh, you see, we're always living next. Okay, so feedback on that experience now. How was that? Yes, it is difficult. Thank you. Right. It's the reason it's the last. Yeah.
He was, that was the- I didn't know.
Terry just said, when I said, forget who you are, by the way, a chapter in the book is called Radical Amnesia. We play with this. Where you forget who you are, she just experienced bliss. And then you say to yourself, oh, let's see, do I like bliss a little better than Ray? And then the brain goes, yeah, okay, I'll go with bliss. So you keep saying to yourself that. Perfect, thank you very much. Yeah, it's blissful. It's normally called luminosity and clarity, also known as emptiness, wisdom.
Yes.
Wisdom mind.
Yeah, it's difficult, but it's all there isn't.
I said, yeah, it's difficult, but it's all that isn't.
No, that's
All there.
all there isn't.
Oh, he wants to deliver that. And it's GI Street's line. It's all there isn't. Happiness is not what you think, right? Okay, I know it must have missed for some folks, because it's pretty wild to think that you can live without an identity. Go ahead, Philip. Yes. I'm not sure there, hon. I'm not sure. Do that again. Before. Yeah, you're just setting yourself up in any number of ways that what it takes you to let go. Okay. Just a jolt. It was just a jolt, an audio jolt. It's just, you know, sacred sugar sometimes is actually inherent in our being. It's why you like climaxing. When you say, oh my God, you're already too late. Problem with the sexual invitation to that moment is you're overwhelmed with sensation, which reifies or makes self think it's important in the game. But it's basically a blast of non-self. And it fuels the whole rest of the trip in some sense, because you start, Leonard Cohen, I'm going off on a tangent. I'm not sure I've gotten your question. I'm not sure the instructions are important. The letting go is important. There's thousands of ways to try to transmit this bliss, this truth. You know what it's called in Tibetan? Ordinary mind, ordinary magic. It's so ordinary. It's just the soup that we live in. At any one second, this second that you're experiencing is completely and totally perfect. And here's another way of doing this, more remedial. Look out into space right now and stare. And when you blink, feel like the world just jumped into your eyes. Stare. Like let yourself get with this. Because what we're usually doing is projecting us on the world, and all of a sudden you blink and you let the world actually come to you. It penetrates you to the bone. It penetrates you to your heart. So there's a hint, Jerome, another one. This is a very daring thing to even share, yeah, in some sense. So, okay, more questions on this one, because I know this is probably the hardest thing. Sacred sugar, stare, blink. All I can say is, I receive it, and I know Susha doesn't like this. I receive it almost like an assault. What? Is that perfect? Everything, just shut up and just what? Enjoy, love, what? Perfection is always happening, and you're starting to do these snorts of it. So you set yourself up with the limbo. Your lineage has wanted you to experience this moment. Thousands of people want you to experience this moment because you will say, we will help our globe, we will help ourselves. Your whole rooting team wants you to know this second. Lineage sets you up, intention sets you up, motivation sets you up, appreciation sets you up, come sit safe sets you up, opening your heart sets you up, and it all sets you up for this final finale of this incredible experience of sacredness that's going on all the time and is so ordinary. Hi, Mr. Ordinary. I'll get back to you in just a second. And would you dress up a little nicer? Like, I'd like you to change your costume a little bit. But it's always here. We always think ordinariness should be, or sacredness should look a little different than it does. We can't, that because of doubt. We doubt our own inherent goodness. So, yeah, Michael, it must be hard. I mean, it's hard, strange, weird.
I think it's marvelous.
Marvelous. It's marvelous having you. Anybody else want to share something with that? Okay. I want to personally thank you so much. I mean, I don't teach much anymore. It is like getting the band back together to have my precious ones that I've been with and through so many things together. To have you guys with me is so important. And I want to just take a moment that, a horrendous thing happened on this day 20 years ago. An invitation to get more awake in our world, to figure out some really problematic things, and our country was hurt, and the world was hurt, and it's for us to figure this out. It's us. So, but a moment for that wake-up call for the people that died, people that sacrificed, but that wake-up call. Appreciative of that wake-up call, even though it was painful. And now,
Battery 80%.
The battery's 80%.
Emails and I found.
It's connected. I want to share my prophet Joe with you. And it goes on for 5 minutes and you're absolutely.
Fall is here. Like 2 weeks. And some cozy to your wardrobe.
Oh, the mic? Okay. Actually, you guys, believe it or not, that is not the one I wanted. And there it is. This is the one I hope to share with you, I hope. Now we'll have to. This is me and technology.
You play Unchained My Heart. Don't sing it. You ain't got to sing. Just play.
Unchain my heart, baby.
Mask on, everybody.
Cause you don't care. Help me. Set me free.
Well, I'm happy.
Unchain my heart, unchain my heart, baby, let me go, baby, let me go. Unchain my heart, but you don't love me no more. Every time I call you on the phone, some fella tells me that you go. Unchain my heart,
Hey,
let me free. Unchain my heart, unchain my heart, baby, let me be. Unchain my heart, cause you don't care about me. You got
Leon Russell. No, just Joe. Joe Cocker. Yeah. You see it? I feel it, says Steven. I feel it. Yeah. Good choice. Yeah. Yeah. Stay and eat. Jerry Woodson got some beautiful food at, what was this place? I think we have Jimmy. Yeah. You know, here's my, got a bunch of partners in crime. Something like this doesn't just proof. It's taking tremendous amount of work to try to keep it safe and pull it off. And I really do feel this is my brother Jimmy. He has a vision. And his right, his wing woman, and two of them. And with that being said,
Okay, Jimmy and I are having an argument about this one first. I want to thank you all for being here. My name is Marina, and Jimmy's a little gardener and he finds things. I think fisherman, he brings folks in and he's helped create this opportunity for us to come together. And I thank Dean and Janine for hosting us in this beautiful space. For the Mindful Hawaii community members like Jerome and Arlene, and I want to thank Jessica, who's been manning the Zoom station back there and who did so much of the work to help organize this event. Thank you, Jess. All of you probably received some information about the Mindful Warrior Project, which is really the attempt to create a way for the intentions of Mindful Hawaii to turn into actions. And this was our first inaugural event that we're hosting, other than the monthly meetings we've had. So yeah, a little applause. This is a good kickoff, right? We were hoping that this would be the kickoff to the beginning of a study course that would give us in Mindful Hawaii a shared context. Because we all come from many paths and many traditions and many different levels of experience and understanding about mindfulness. And so the Wisdom Seat folks have been so kind as to share with us the beautiful work they did in creating a study course for Shambhala, the Way of the Warrior book. And so that begins next month. It'll meet once a month over 9 sessions. It'll go until next June on Wednesday nights from 6:30 to 8:30. Right now, it'll be a virtual engagement unless we decide it's okay to come together for some of us. But I'm using their materials and their teaching and some really wonderful teachers. We'll have our own discussions, but they'll be providing the teaching. And so we'll be studying that book together. Beyond that, we'll be looking at Margaret Wheatley's book, Who Do We Choose to Be? She talks about creating islands of sanity, being peaceful warriors. So that project is helping us go out into the community and take the intentions of Mindful Hawaii off the cushion and into the world that we live in at work, at home, in our institutions. And those are the big dreams that Mindful Hawaii has, creating an underlying culture of mindfulness that sort of is everywhere in Hawaii. So we have small, mighty aspirations that we can help heal ourselves and our community, and we start by coming together as a community, strengthening our own individual practices, and then giving ourselves the courage and the commitment to take that out into the world that we walk around in. So we hope you'll join us on that journey. As I said, the very next 3 things you can be aware of: this study group on Shambhala, the Sacred Path of the Warrior, will be doing next month. you all had the chance to sign up for it, but if you didn't choose to, and you're thinking that, you might go back to the website and let us know that you want to be part of that. There are monthly community meetings that Jimmy orchestrates and always has interesting people for us to be exposed to and ideas for us to come together around. There's an opportunity to be part of the Mindful Warrior Project as a member of the stewardship group, who's really sort of the legs and arms, trying to help be the energy and the action steps behind the intentions that we hold as a community. And so we start there. So there are many ways to be engaged. And we've also established a group on Insight Timer for Mindful Hawaii. And we have the intention of creating group sits and allowing those of us in the community that instigate, lead sits together and other kinds of meditation. It's not just sitting meditation, but moving meditations as well, and meditation in many other forms. So mindfulness in many other forms. So all of that are just portals of opportunity to engage in community with each other and to help sort of lift up the intentions that are behind Mindful Hawaii. And that intention really was born in Jimmy, and he really has brought us all together here. So I'm going to turn this over to him and let him give us some of his sacred tribute.
Thank you, Maureen. You've said it all for me. But I know lunch is coming, so I'm going to make it short. But first, let me thank Dean and Jimmy for opening and welcoming all of us to the beautiful home. And there's no question about it, there is spirit here. And I want to thank you both for that. Of course, the working committee, they worked hard. They know who they are. So I'm just going to say thank you to all of them. And I want to keep this part short. Is there a question? Or are you just saying hi to me? You know, when you come to a beautiful place like this, you don't really realize it. But our world is in distress. It is in distress. We are distressed, not only mentally, physically, but emotionally. But I think most of all, we are spiritually distressed. And the part of us and the forces that are working on the world today that's causing this distress is affecting the human spirit, actually. And unfortunately, the human spirit does not get the attention that it deserves. So, in this context, we started this project called Mindful Warrior Project. And the aim of that project is to somehow move the emphasis and the work to protect and defend the spirit that's diminishing in our society, and help to raise it up and help to connect up with as many people as possible. And by doing that, by networking with people, we know that it'll move the foundation of society in a way that will make us a better place. Not just Hawaii, but maybe the United States and all parts of the world. So I want all of you to consider joining us in this effort. And if you think you're not a warrior, you are a warrior. If you talk to your friends in an open way, an honest, sincere way, you are a warrior, because you're inviting that openness and that closeness, if you will, connectivity. It's very important. It's not much of that going on. And I think if we have ordinary people like ourselves go out and cause that to happen more often, I think it would be a wonderful thing. It may not bring about results tomorrow, but over a long term, I think we will see the spirituality of this world, a magic. So I just want to close by saying that please come join us. It's going to be a challenging path ahead of us, and I'm sure that with the help that we have, all of you coming on board, we will make it effective. Hawaii, in this sense, will be an example. As a matter of fact, how many of you heard of that? What's his name? That's Congressman. Oh, yeah, Ryan, Congressman Tim Ryan. We were supposed to have him here last year, but COVID came upon us, so we just couldn't make it happen. Where he would come and talk to us. He's the author of the book called A Mindful Nation. And one of the things that I was going to ask him, if he had come, was, what do you think of having a Mindful Hawaii-like organization in each of the states? I think if we got that started, we would have extended our reach farther out than the Pacific Ocean. But it's still a dream and it's still possible. After his race for this US Senate, maybe we can make that happen. And if we do, I would like to invite all of you to be part of that. Okay? And also, in closing, I would like to say that it takes a lot of work to put all of these things out and to take it out, to set it up. So after lunch, if you are not in a rush, we would appreciate it if you could stay back a little and help us break down the accommodation, if you will, and so that we can all go home a little early. Maybe watch the 5 o'clock game at Wake will be playing right at 5 o'clock. So thank you all for coming, and have a nice lunch. And I would like to tell story with all of you during lunch. Mahalo. Disconnected.
Are we disconnected? Do you turn it off?
Oh, I don't know.
We just want to thank the people that came to us by Zoom. Thank you all for being with us. And one day COVID will be behind us. We can all be together, but thank you for coming in from far away.
Did anybody get the first hour recorded? If so, we didn't. We'd love it if you can get it. The first hour.
I don't think they can record it. The host has to.
We can't record, yeah.
We
You
know.
were-
Okay.
oh, okay. Thank you so
you.
much.
Aloha.
Aloha. Bye, Jenny Margaret at Sucro. See you again.